Today we have a kind of a dating question, but also a very personal question about me. And the question is this. You've been doing this for 20 years. Why are you still a dating coach? First of all, I've been doing this for 23 years, not 20. So if you're going to tell me I've been doing it too long or call me old, at least make your case in full. It is a funny question to me in a way, though, because for other careers or other professions or other, passions, you wouldn't necessarily say this, right? Why are you still doing it after so long, right? If there was someone who's a doctor, especially if they love being a doctor and they're good at being a doctor and, they're making a nice life for themselves as a doctor, why are you still doing it? Well, because it's good. I like it. And probably it's even more rewarding 20 years in. Like being a 20-year doctor is a lot more rewarding than being like an intern doing rounds, I would assume, and being exhausted and getting yelled at and, not having any authority. So most career paths, and especially business or entrepreneurial career paths, do tend to get better over time. The first few years tend to be the hardest. So in a way, it's a weird question. But in a way, it's not such a weird question, right? Because it makes sense if when I was 18, 20, 21 years old, I wasn't very good with girls yet. It made sense for me to be very passionate about game and wanting to get good at game. And then obviously, and this is actually part of the reason I got into doing game and being a dating coach, is I thought, okay, well, what is the most fun thing I'm doing? What do I wish I could spend all my time doing? Is there a way to do that? Oh, wait, I can do this and get paid for it, and so I can do it all the time? That sounds amazing. And at that time, I was really just obsessed with getting my game good. In fact, when I started being a dating coach, I actually thought of it as a temporary thing. I thought I'll just do this until I get my game where I want it to be, and then, who knows? But who knew it's actually rewarding in other ways? It actually is kind of fun and cool to see guys succeed and to know you helped with that. It is very interesting and fascinating to figure out how to help a student get leverage on himself, how to help a student through his own inner demons and inner issues. Every one of you has had a unique life history when it comes to women. In order to help you personally, I need to understand maybe not every single bit of that life history, but I need to understand your major motivations. I need to understand, what makes you who you are. And I also need to see very up close what you're doing. And a lot of times, the same techniques work for a lot of people, right? There's this one thing that I teach and it works over and over again, so I teach it over and over again because it's efficient and it works. But occasionally I'll come across a student who has some difference, right? And I'm like, how do I get through to this person? And I'm struggling. I'm thinking, is there a new way to phrase this? Is there a new way to frame this thing? Is there a new exercise I can create? Is there a new thing I can make him do in field? Is there a way that I can do an approach with him so that he sees something different? And that creativity and that problem solving is really fascinating. It's really actually kind of brilliant and beautiful, and I do really enjoy it. If you are on my boot camp, don't be intentionally difficult just to make me problem solve you just because I said that. Please try and be a good student. Please be a good student. But yeah, I do enjoy this, and interestingly enough, a lot of my coaching breakthroughs do come from dealing with the most difficult students. So we do have some epiphanies, and honestly, after dealing with a program with great students, I feel so uplifted and so encouraged and so inspired, and we had so much fun over the weekend, and it's incredible. When I have a boot camp with a difficult student, oftentimes it's draining, but at the end, I'm a better coach. And if we can get that difficult student to actually get over whatever he's dealing with, oh my God, it's like when you have an epiphany in game and like your whole mind is like, oh my God, I just realized something. It's kind of like that. I have an epiphany in my coaching game, so to speak. Also, by the way, I am still fascinated by game and I do still like women. The game is still incredibly, incredibly fun. And of all the things I could go to work and do, sitting in a cubicle doing, that kind of work or doing the kind of work I do, you gotta admit what I do is pretty damn exciting. But beyond that, and this is not even necessarily the reason of why I'm still a dating coach. Maybe it's why I'm more committed as a dating coach than I've ever been, which is I think guys actually need it more than they ever have. So when I started teaching this in the early 2000s, there were a lot of lost guys out there that needed this coaching, but mainly they needed it because they didn't have the skill set. So you needed to teach them the skill set. Now, obviously, there are still tons and tons of guys that just need the skill set. But what I'm seeing more and more is actually guys who perhaps need the skill set, but are also demoralized. They've been beaten down, or they've been told that being a man is wrong, or that they're not enough. The fact is, dating for a lot of guys is harder than it's ever been. A lot of the traditional ways that guys would meet girls, what's worked for hundreds of years isn't working nearly so much, right? It's now not as okay to meet girls through work. Even at school, it's not as prevalent. And in fact, the girls that you're in school with, if you're in college, for example, they're not just dating within the college, they're dating outside of the college. They're dating the guys that they've met on Instagram or on online dating sites or other things along those lines. So again, those traditional means of meeting women are not working quite as well. And also, people are just being less social in their day-to-day lives. People are working at computers, sometimes remotely, sometimes not ever having to talk to another human being for weeks on end if they didn't want to. So all of this is making it harder. And there's that demoralization and people being told like it's wrong when it's absolutely not wrong. Game is one of the most beautiful things in the world when done right. And then on top of it, the skill sets. And then so we now have this environment where guys need this more than ever. And there are fewer and fewer resources that are good resources, at least, for them to get this information from. So we've seen the demands, the amount of guys who need this go up, and the amount of guys who are teaching it well went up for a while, and it's kind of tapered off or plateaued down. In a way, I kind of feel responsible. Like game is my baby in a way, right? It's been my passion. It's something that I've been involved in for a long time, and I think it is one of the most beautiful things in the world because of what I've seen it do for me and what I've seen it do for other people. I have seen game change people's lives, but I really believe every guy should aspire to a relationship they really love and chose to be in. Nobody should be in the position of going through their life knowing they settled. That is really, really sad. I know that I couldn't deal with that myself. I was like, you know what? I've been successful in these other areas. I'm not successful with women. And this is one of the most important things for me. Who I spend my life with, who I partner with, the experiences I have with the opposite sex are a defining feature of your time on this planet Earth. And you owe it to yourself and you deserve to make the most of it. And anybody who's telling you otherwise is not operating with your best interests at heart. So anyway, I'm a little passionate about game. I do kind of like this whole thing. And I've also been doing it for a long time. So I like to think that I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at teaching it. And I'm maybe in a unique position to help out all these people who do need this right now. And also, you know what? I do like it. I do enjoy it. I'm not going to tell you it's completely selfless because I do fucking love it still. Anyway, that's the reason why after 23, not 20 years, I still do teach and do game.